So if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new and you've watched me for any length of time, you know that I love the woods, I love the animals, I love the trees. I just love outdoors and everything that's out there. But in my travels, quite often traveling solo and alone across the United States 8 to 9 months out of the year, I run into some strange things. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I ran right into one of Bigfoot's dens, and I'll prove it to you. So if you want to see this, you're going to want to sit back, you're going to want to relax, and you're most definitely going to want to check this out. By the way, there's chapters, so you can skip. You're welcome. And before we start this video, I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button as well as the little bell right next to it so you're notified of all new videos. Here we go. So maybe you know or maybe you don't know, but for the last 3 months, I have been working on my truck in my driveway. I built this truck in this driveway, so I have no problem with working on it. But the problem is I brought it to a shop out west in California and had them do some extensive work to it. Sadly, all the work failed. I didn't make it back to the East Coast without everything just basically falling apart, and I've been trying to rectify that since. With that being said, I finally got to a point where I could start actually test driving it for long hauls. So I decided to head up to New Hampshire to an area that I'm very familiar with because, first of all, it's 100 miles on the highway, which is a good test drive. Plus, when I get to where I'm going, I can take the truck off-road, which is a good test drive, and that's what I was doing. So before we start, for all the armchair and keyboard warriors out there that are going, Bigfoot, are you kidding me? People have been talking about that for years, but our government has assured us that they do not exist whatsoever at all. Well, let me tell you something. You see this footage from 1967, the year I was born, coincidentally? It's real. It's been gone over by so many people, it's ridiculous. And it has boobs, something they couldn't do back in 1967. And before you argue with that, what else has the government told us was absolutely ridiculous? Well, let me remind you.
The U.S. intelligence community on Friday released a long-awaited report on what it knows about UFOs, or unidentified flying objects. Some of the more than 100 instances it studied could be explained by atmospheric occurrences, foreign adversary actions, or other phenomena. But most of the incidents defied explanation. One person who knows that well is retired Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, a retired Navy fighter pilot. Alex Dietrich, welcome to the NewsHour. So tell us what you saw back in a training mission in San Diego.
So in November of 2004, off the coast of Southern California, we were preparing for our deployment, running training exercises, and when we launched, anticipating going to a particular airspace and running these training exercises, we were interrupted for a real-world intercept. We were vectored to try to get a visual tally on something that another ship in our carrier strike group was picking up on their radar. So we followed their vectors and we ended up getting a visual contact. There were 4 aircrew and 2 aircraft. So each aircraft is a cockpit with a pilot and a weapons systems officer. And so among the 4 of us, we picked up this visual tally on this UAP, this unidentified aerial phenomenon.
And what did it look like?
So we describe it as looking like a tic tac. It looks like the little breath mint in larger scale, but white, oblong, no apparent flight control surfaces, no apparent visible means of propulsion, and it was maneuvering in a way that we didn't recognize, that we couldn't classify, we couldn't identify.
So yeah, they changed the name from UFO to UAP, but the same government that told you these little green men from Mars was simply ridiculous are now telling you that there are alien motherships in our solar system releasing small scout vehicles. So be aware of that, okay? They don't tell the truth. And for many of us that have spent a great majority of time out in the wilderness, especially alone, especially at altitude like in the Rockies or the Sierras, or even in New Hampshire or Vermont or Maine, weird things happen. I've had 3 experiences, one with a witness, like the video that I put up right here, one crossing through the Rockies, and one crossed right in front of my truck, and it was so big I thought I was freaking out. And then one time at my bug out location, which is where I was heading to test drive my truck. It hit the side of my tent so loud it woke me up. My tent's 7.5 feet off the ground. But on that, I'll digress. This is my bug out location, one of them on the East Coast, and I did a video that was pretty extensive. I let you follow me around the entire time I was up there for 48 hours, videotaping myself, etc. And this is where I was planning on going. It's a perfect spot. I know the area really well. But sadly, on my way to this spot that I've been to numerous times, traffic was a mess, so I decided to take a different route and got completely and totally lost. I ended up in the lake regions near Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire, and finally, after driving with no dirt roads or Class 6 roads to actually test drive the truck's transfer cases, I stopped and asked somebody, "Hey, are you a local?" He said, "I am." I said, "I'm looking for a dirt road simply to put my truck in 4-wheel drive and test out my transfer cases. One of them's been leaking and I want to put it in gear and just check it out." He said, "Well, take a right here, drive straight down the road, and there's a dirt road down there that you can use. But if you really want some crazy terrain, go straight." So that's exactly what I did. I went straight, and this guy was not kidding. This road that he told me about appeared to be an old Class 6 road in New Hampshire. They're all over the place, and they're awesome. But this one was an incredibly steep climb, and there was a river running down the middle of the trail. So it was super muddy, incredibly rocky, the granite state and all. And I took the truck in, I did my thing. And for the last several months, I have been researching Bigfoot and everything related to it for real. Going through all the channels and podcasts and footage and everything else. I've been interested in Bigfoot for a long, long time, ever since it was on In Search Of, which was the Patterson-Gilman film. And I decided, seeing how I go to places where Bigfoot could be, I was going to start hunting for real. So while I'm up here test driving, I figured, what the heck, I might as well give it a shot. So I do a little tree knock. And it worked out really poorly. So I put the camera down, I found a decent log, and I hit a tree. And on my life, I hit a tree. Within 30 seconds, I heard a growl. I have never heard that before, and I was not looking for Bigfoot. I'm test driving my truck. I just figured, what the heck? Let me do that. So I just let that go. No big deal. I didn't know what it was. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a hog. It wasn't anything like that. But I wasn't overcome with an overwhelming feeling of dread or anything to that effect. But then I started looking around, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. So there's a really strange tree that was bent all the way down, still alive, pinned to the ground with another large tree, and then a huge tree right there. And the top of the tree is on the ground. The bottom of the tree is way up there. Could people have done it? Probably, but I don't see how they could do that. Or do that, and that's recent. So right exactly where I stopped on the trail in my truck, I did the tree knock, the wood knock, and heard a growl and thought nothing of it. I figured, you know what, dude, you're just hearing things. It's no big deal. And I look to my right, and I notice that a tree is snapped off at like 10 foot in the air. And then I look over and I see another huge tree. It's about 7 inches in diameter that's bent over in a perfect arch pinned to the ground. And then right next to that, I see a massive tree upside down. The roots are gone, the tree's been snapped off, and it's stuck in another tree upside down. All of these are within, well, you can see it in the video. They're all right there. And unlike other Bigfoot hunters, I actually scan the area really slow. So now I'm thinking, after I left, this dude's right around here, and then I find a footprint. So check this out. Yeah, that's crazy. That's fairly fresh. I mean, it's not 2 weeks ago, but it's fairly fresh. It's not 100 years ago either. And neither is that. So there's the upside down tree. There's the big bent tree. This is eye level. And that's looking up. And there's nothing above this that would have snapped it off. That tree coming down was a long time ago. That was months ago. Or maybe not as long, I don't know. So I'm way up by Lake Winnipesaukee, and I'm on a Class 6 road. Doesn't look like it's been traveled very much at all. It's very wet. It's very precarious, we'll call it that. And I saw this, what looked like a tree structure over here. And I did a wood knock, believe it or not, and I heard a grunt or a growl or something right afterwards. And I mean, I haven't even got back in the truck yet. And I come over here to this strange tree structure, and I see this. That's a tall tree. That is a good 9 or 10 feet up. And it's just strange that it would be broken. And then the one next to it is bent. And then this tree is bent. And I should probably be paying more attention to the noise I heard, but I'm gonna play that off as me hearing things wrong or whatever. Deer track. Tons of black flies. Something's been bedding down right here. That is crazy, right? Totally crazy, right? And there's another tree, totally upside down. See what I'm saying? I was coming up here to test my transfer case and just happened to think, hey, I'll do a wood knock, see if I hear another one come back. I didn't. I didn't hear another wood knock. But I did hear a growl. It could have been any variety of things that growled, but that is... Oh, that's a frog. It just freaked me out. Oh, yeah, there's a Bigfoot track for you. This tree is bent over and pinned to the ground. I didn't come up here looking. I've come up here a million times and never once was looking. So there's three things right here in a row, This tree, still alive, bent over all the way to the ground and stuck there. This tree right behind it, that is probably 30 feet long, 6 inches in diameter, stuck there, which makes no sense. And then this bad Larry, that snap is a good 10 feet off the ground, easy. So what am I seeing? I don't know. And none of this logging has been done anytime in the last couple of years. Man, the black flies are no joke. No joke at all. So the one thing I didn't really pay attention to until after the fact was whatever made that noise, the growling, the grunt, whatever it was in response to my wood knock, which was a decent wood knock. I found a pretty decent piece of wood, banged it against a tree. Within 15 seconds, I heard something that caught my attention that wasn't normal. I spend a lot of time outdoors. I hear stuff. I know what they are. The one thing I didn't pay attention to was after I heard the noise, nothing ever ran off. Nothing ever scampered away. Because every time you take a footstep up here, it crunches, as you can hear with me crunching around. And this entire area was just complete happenstance. This was not where I was planning on going. I ended up parking right there and then looking over just to notice that there was a weird tree structure. I got out to check to see if my transfer case was leaking or dumping out or falling out or whatever, and stumbled across this. Now, I have just recently been hooked up by FLIR and the guys over at Night Vision guys, and I've got night vision and thermal now. And when I head out, I am going to be actively searching, and I'm not going to give you the crappy videos where I go out there and make some ridiculous scream or whatever that I think a Bigfoot might like to hear. I'm going to talk to locals, and I'm going to find stuff, and I'm going to show you legit videos. I'm really going to try to find Bigfoot. And if you follow the channel, this isn't my first foray. I've gone to the extent of going in a helicopter and etc. up at Mount St. Helens looking. So stay tuned. I will be bringing you more. This was just too crazy not to post up, at any rate. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like, share, and subscribe. I'll leave some other crazy sounds I recorded in the redwoods and some other Bigfoot videos in the description box below. Leave a comment and I will try to return the favor. I am out.